every brother that's caught in the crossfire.
Hello everyone, Jason Leia back here again, and today we'll be finally giving the spoiler-filled review for It Chapter 2. Decided to wait a week first so that everybody could see the film and give their thoughts on it, and it seemed like everybody has. It's making a lot of money, so let's get into spoilers. If you still haven't seen the film, don't watch this video. I have a spoiler-free review up a week ago, so you could check that out. Go watch the movie, then come back. Now, I'm not going to talk about the entire movie. I'm just going to talk about some of the biggest spoilers and go in depth into some of the things why I think this film is not as good as the first. So, the reason why I think that way is not just because of the extended long pacing, which is a major factor, but because of that, it's not as scary. The scares don't have much of a progression to them. They don't have much of a build-up or a climax. And whenever something scary does happen, it will usually cut to a joke or something funny, something gets in the way of it. And while it is really funny at first, it does undercut the tension of the scene. And for a few examples, the scene where Eddie gets stabbed by the bully from the first film in the cheek, and then takes it out from behind the shower and stabs him through the stomach, and just walks off and is like, you should cut that fucking mullet, dude. It's been like 30 years. As funny as that was, it did undercut the tension in that scene, and I was so disappointed by it. Another thing is when they played Angel in the Morning during Eddie's encounter with the leper, when he went into like the basement of the pharmacy store which he used to go to as a kid, and the leper just sprays out all this, I don't know, this stuff all over him, and there was so much intense music, so much build up. Then right at that moment, just call me Angel, just comes out of nowhere. It really ruined the tension in that scene, and choices like that just made the film not as scary. There are still a few scary moments. For example, the opening where two gay couple one of the gay men get drowned in trying to swim their way out of a river. And then Pennywise picks him up and just bites him. That was really intense. I really like that, in the imagery of the red balloons coming below the bridge. I thought that was an incredible opening sequence. And the sequence where Pennywise chews off the head of this little girl with a birthmark on her cheek, and the way he just toys with her emotions to try to eat her fears. It's that moment like that is really creepy and builds so much atmosphere. But sequences like in the pharmacy or with the bullies, it just ruins the tension, and it just made it not as scary. And that's in the that's like in the second act. The second act is where all the problems come in, and where I feel like a lot of scenes could have been deleted. So there's like this whole thing where each of the Losers Club members have to retrieve an artifact, and they have to go their separate ways, and they do. And you could just switch these sequences around and nothing would change much. And some of these sequences do feel like filler and have stuff in them where you could like cut it out. And so I really think in the middle part of the film is where the pacing and length starts to show. And with that, the pacing suffers, there's a lack of direction sometimes. It's not awful. I mean, actors are doing a great job. The cinematography and directing overall is still good, but the pacing and timing of certain scenes and how interchangeable they could have been without changing anything just really shows that this movie has a lot of pacing issues in its second act that could have been fixed up if it was just much more focused and if the runtime was just cut and short and the scares actually weren't undercut by a funny joke. Now I talked about how the third act is kind of bloated in my spoiler-free review, but I didn't get into why. There's a sequence in the middle, the final act, where Pennywise shows his true form, and that is basically he's a spider, but he's still Pennywise at the same time, and he's trying to grab the fears of these characters. Now, I really enjoyed that final battle. There's a lot of cool callbacks to the first film, especially an incredible sequence where Ben Hansen and Beverly Marsh are trying to reach out to each other, where Beverly is trapped in the bathroom where we were first introduced to her in the first film, and Ben Hansen is being dragged in the dirt, and they're trying to reach out to each other, and Ben finally tells her that he's the one that wrote the poem, and they finally were able to escape Pennywise's spell. Stuff like that was really intense, and Eddie just owning Pennywise by throwing the spear at him, and all of a sudden it seemed like he didn't kill him and he dies. Stuff like that is really cool, but the final act did try to go a lot bigger and try to show so much of everything going on that it doesn't become scary. It doesn't become as intense as I think it wanted to be. And that, I think, is because of that middle act driving so much of the storytelling and making so many choices that didn't work. Overall, I still really enjoyed the film. I do think it is well directed. I do think the actor did a great job. I do think that its first act is the best act out of all of them. The scene where they're at the Chinese restaurant is really good. There's a lot to like about this film, but now thinking about it more, I think I'm starting to like it less. I still really enjoy the film, and I do suggest you guys go check it out, because I do think that is worth your time, but it is not as good as the first film, and for that reason, I'm going to debunk my grade from a B+ to a B. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.
So heaven, if you sent us down